for the Rapids, it's been a really good year. And for this team, I want to go back to you. You just talked about predictions. And at the beginning of 2024, you see all these changes come in, right? What were your thoughts of like what could potentially happen in Colorado? And were your expectations exceeded? Like how did this season play out when you thought of what the Rapids could do and what they did do?
You're so kind, Jordan and Drew, because normally this would be the time that people bring up the Josh Wolf piece of paper with the preseason predictions on it, and I would have to eat crow for those.
We didn't go back, all right? We didn't go back. We're moving forward here, Wiebe.
That's right. Just from now until the future, we don't need to think about the past. Look, expectations blown away for me. Absolutely blown away across a number of different levels, individuals within the team, collectively, and then Chris. And I think Chris is such a great story for our league in the sense that he was in a position where he needed to sort of reclaim some of the, like, his own narrative around himself as a coach. Like, because of Toronto, because of the end of the New York Red Bulls time, because of going to England, I think it was time for him to just come back and be like, hey, anything you thought about me as a coach, anything that you thought I was going to be or the way I would lead a team, like, let's throw that out the window. Let me show you. Like, let's put the results on the field. And I thought from minute one, this team reflected that sort of fighting spirit, that sort of like, I don't give a rip what you have in your mind, what picture you think of us. And that was particularly for me cemented after losses. Like, those are the moments, right? When everything's going good, it's easy to be like, Swagger and Ricky Pouge, like, yeah, it's going good. Like, everybody feels great. But when you get butt kicked by the Portland Timbers out of the jump in your first game and you have to pick yourself up off the mat, that to me is the truer test. And for most teams in MLS, that's the test they're going to have to face every month probably. Having that moment because of the parity of the league. So I thought he proved that over and over. I was incredibly impressed by Moise Bombito's transformation. Obviously, the talent was always there. Sometimes you need a little oxygen, like oxygen in this case, just being playing time and belief. And with that oxygen, my God, he blossomed. Like he blossomed almost too much. It was like, oh no, we can't hang on to this guy. And then I thought Georgie was in the same vein as Chris. Reclaim your narrative, man. Like, take it back from the people that said that your career wasn't working out. And he did that with flying colors. And then, on the flip side, I think the commitment from ownership in the front office was something that I've been in particular asking for a while with the club. And in signing Georgie, in landing Chris, and getting Hafa Navahu into the team permanently, I thought there was some really major steps taken there. And so when I look at the present, I'm incredibly impressed, despite sort of the little blip at the end of the year where momentum ran out. And I look at the future and I just think, well, what can this be? It's a completely different image of what I would have thought it could be a year ago.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool to watch how all those pieces came together so well, because sometimes when you get a new head coach, it's hard because there's players that don't fit the system. And it really felt like everything that Chris asked of the players, like these players could provide. It didn't matter if you were a starter or not. It felt seamless in ways that Wiebe, I don't know about you, Drew, you've been in this game a long time too. You don't see that very often with the majority of players.
No, there was buy-in with this group as soon as Chris came, right? And I think he wears his emotions. He's the kind of guy that you want to be in a room with for a little bit, before just things start, going haywire. But the players brought in like a Georgi Mihailovic and a Zach Steffen and obviously Cole comes back, Sam Vines comes back. There was buy-in from the leadership and the group, and it didn't really matter what Chris was trying to preach or put out there. Everybody bought into it, and yeah, I think even Chris was brought in because he was going to bring a more entertaining style and tactics, and there was going to be goals and man, like the guys from day one in Mexico in preseason back in January just bought in and were excited to play the way Chris wants to play and excited to play for somebody like this. And it translated once the season started, and it was a lot of fun to watch.